Welcome into the Nickel City Crew. I am your host, Rob Crippen. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nickel City Crew. This episode, along with all of our episodes, are presented by Crippen Legacy Entertainment here on Spreaker. We're so glad that you're joining us for some of your Buffalo Bills and NFL content again today. And as always, these are my Bills thoughts said out loud.
So I'll give you what I've got on Josh is he's day-to-day, and the next question will be, is he going to play? And the answer is we'll see. So based on the medical report that we have, Josh is day-to-day.
All right, let's get straight to it. Boy, what a week for the Buffalo Bills and the Bills Mafia, Nickel City Crew. I am joined again tonight by my co-host, my boy, my man, 50 grand, Adam Dumptruck Rubsick. Holla at the crew, DT. This has been an interesting week, just to say the least, to start. It was funny. We were talking pre-show and you said it's like a cloud over the city. I said, well, I heard that the weather was great back up in Western New York. And you're like, yeah, the weather's been great, but it feels like a cloud over the city. And boy, it feels like that all the way down where I'm at here in Charlotte as well. Maybe it's just me, man, but I feel like, one of those old cartoons where what is it, Peanuts, where the clouds always follow the kid or raining on the kid or something like that. Listen, man, it has been interesting. Holla at the crew, DT. What's good?
Nickel City, what's up? We're back in a little better spirits than we were a few days ago when we spoke on the post-game show. Good to be back. Going to be an interesting episode. And you were right, Rob. It's ominous out here in the Buff. It's weird, man. The past couple of days, the loss kind of overshadowed the injury itself. Mm-hmm. And then Monday it was reality 17. What's good? Reality 17. Hit. What's good? Yeah, exactly. And contradicting reports, everything yes. Up, down, all over the place. So it's been an interesting couple of days, but really one of the main things on my mind and your mind, I know, and everybody else, I just see. You can tell it's on everybody's shoulders. So it is the real deal. We're with him and got his back when we're winning and being the best team in the league. And if there's just a hint of him being out, people are going nuts. So yeah, looking forward to getting into it tonight. And obviously we'll touch on everything there. But ominous is the word, Rob. It's weird up here right now.
Yeah, I mean it's funny that you say that because I mean, when you talk about, the different spectrum and like the wide breadth of what people, I heard Tommy John, this week I've heard on Twitter, that this could be career threatening. I'm like, come on, like, give me a break. Like, I'm like, what is going on? Like, I don't know if it was like fear posting or if people were doing it just to kind of mess and rile up Bills Mafia, but it was working because Twitter has been set ablaze over this Josh Allen injury. And again, if you don't know, I have no idea what rock you have been living under, but late in the fourth quarter, right against the Jets, Josh on that strip sack actually got his elbow kind of, hyperextended a little bit. And what happened was it looks like there is a partial UCL tear, or it is strained is the word that they are using. But I heard from people that strain is just another way of saying that there's a small tear. So listen, on the next play, he tosses it 70 air yards, almost one of the longest passes in the last decade in the NFL. I heard somebody today tell me, well, that was just adrenaline. And like, what I mean? I'm like, man, but I'm like, the next play, he threw it 70 yards. So listen, I want to make sure that my stance is clear. I do not want to hurt Josh Allen. I do not want to risk him. The goal is to win Super Bowl 57. So my focus is still on that. I understand that if he has to miss some games, then he's going to have to miss some games. But boy, we got ourselves a dog, DT, and we know that. So if there's any way that Josh Allen can be on the field, I think it's really going to come down to the medical staff literally telling Bean and McDermott, no, he cannot play because the risk is too high. Because if there's a chance, I think the 17 is going to find his way on the field.
100%. That's what he's been his whole career. One of those your cliche football terms of you're gonna have to take me off on the stretcher, right. or I'm playing, and that's his mindset through and through, and that's why he's respect of his teammates, and that's why he's been so great in this league because of that competitive nature, and that dog is right, and that's overused a lot nowadays, but it's true when it comes to 17, and it couldn't be truer. But the reaction on this is crazy. Everyone's you're going nuts on it. It's you just scroll a little on Facebook. You're not even looking, specifically on a Bills page or anything. People are talking about it, and like you said, the let's put this to rest here. The Tommy John thing, right? This is something that's been rubbing me wrong all
I
week.
heard it today,
I mean,
man. Somebody else told me again today.
Hundreds of pitchers in baseball get Tommy John all the time.
Right.
You can name, I couldn't name until I looked it up. There's 3 or 4 quarterbacks who've ever gotten it,
Right.
and it's completely different, right? The Tommy John in baseball is when you throw it out. You overuse it and throw it out. In this case, Josh got crushed in his elbow, and at any part of your body, if you get hit like that in a hyperextension, it's going to cause some pain. And it's not that he threw it out by any means, and hopefully he didn't do it with that 70-yard bomb after the fact. But damn, he put that on a rope too. Let's talk about that. But he completes to get out. But this Tommy John thing, nobody's ever got Tommy John. That's other than like somebody old and has to do it just quarterback wise. I'm saying so.
Yes.
Let's put that to rest. He still might miss some games. There still might be some issues, but he's not getting Tommy John. It's not.
I was trying to explain that to a friend today. They were, what I mean? That they were kind of coming at me and saying, like, Tommy John, it could be career threatening. I'm like, well, but Tommy John's for baseball pitchers. And I'm like, it's based on the motion. I'm like, throwing a baseball motion is not how you're throwing a football. It's not even the same motion, the delivery point. So like, I just didn't I didn't buy it. I'm not buying it. I don't want to use like fear base and be scared, you know what I mean? But like, I don't even think that it really applied to what happened on that play. So we'll see. Obviously, if there's a UCL, tear, strain, whatever you want to call it. My main question was, DT, and I don't know, we're both not doctors, as everybody knows. We're regular people that have regular jobs. We're not doctors. Can it heal on its own just with time? Because I kind of lean towards the fact that they might play it and err on the side of caution this week and keep them out, hold them out if they have an opportunity to coming up against an NFC opponent, and maybe just let them rest it out for 10 days or maybe even 2 weeks, and then we may not even see Josh again until the Thanksgiving game. I don't know, but can this thing kind of just self-heal if he just doesn't throw? Like, how does that work? I have no clue, man.
I'm not panicking if they do got to keep him out a few weeks, but I'm on the opposite end of that. I think if McDermott's coming out with the day-to-day and the organization is kind of quiet about it and nobody's really saying, too much, I feel like if it was serious and he was going to be out longer term, they would have just ripped the Band-Aid off right away, right?
Okay.
If there's a chance, I think organizationally, they expect him to play this week, and they're going to keep eyes on it going into Sunday. I really do. I think that's why the designation of this day-to-day, and we'll keep an eye on it. And he might play Sunday. If they knew he could get more hurt on this, and this might be detrimental to his future career, there's no chance he plays Sunday, right? We can all agree with that. If he goes out and plays and it's going to hurt him worse down the line, we'd all agree as Bills Mafia and Nickel City crew to say keep him out, right? Especially in this NFC game. But at this other end, they're kind of coming day to day. We'll see. We'll see how he feels, and back that with Josh's mentality of I'm playing. Then I think they're expecting him to play, and they're going to keep an eye on it. And if it gets to the weekend and it's just not there, then they pull him. But I think right now, today, that organization, McDermott and 17, the whole team thinks he's playing.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because I was hearing some rumblings earlier today, because I couldn't stay off of this story, and I was hearing rumblings that like in the like people, like teammates in the locker room are expecting him to play, or kind of looking for him to be out there. So that was an interesting one to me, because again, we're fans, we're on the outside looking in. Those are his teammates, those are his brothers, those are his co-workers. I don't, if they're thinking that he's going to play, if they're thinking that he's itching to play, like obviously his mentality is to be out there on the field, like you talked about, pull me out on the stretcher. But you've got to make sure. Is that what he has told his teammates, or is that what like they think? Exactly.
That's a big difference too.
And that's a big
obviously, Josh. Hey, Diggs, Josh, you playing this week? He's like, hell yeah, I'm playing this week. So right. He's gonna say right? Like you feel like he's gonna say that, but. Yeah, so that's an interesting concept as well. Like, we're fans, we can speculate all we want, but if the team's coming out and is like, yeah, I'm confident he's playing, he's saying he's confident he's playing, that's what leans me towards, like, unless it's a crazy smoke screen and
right.
They want to.
I was just going to ask you about gamesmanship for the Vikings and making them prepare for Josh. even though even though they have in the back pocket that Case is going to be out there. So I was wondering about that. Like, do you think that this could be gamesmanship? Do you think that they're just trying to play the Vikings because you do have to put in different preparation, obviously for Josh Allen versus Case Keenum. That's almost with any starting quarterback in the league and their backup.
Yeah.
There's going to be a little bit of a line of demarcation where you've got to kind of you got a lot time, you got a lot reps, and you got a lot looks for your scout team against the offense. Against their defense. So is it any chance that this is just the Bills trying to play that third dimensional chess or whatever, and they're just trying to keep Minnesota on their toes? I mean, I don't know, but I mean,
it could.
I mean, it's worth asking.
Be,
you know what I mean?
But and when you go in as a defense, and it's Bills week, it's not fun. I'm sure it's not fun. I'm sure it's more work. You got to prepare for a lot of good quarterbacks in this league, but I'm sure prepping for Bills week is more work than any defense in this league do any part of the season. Bills week's the main week. It's the main job. Like, you got to be prepared for 17 and everything he can do to you, because he's unstoppable. He can do it all, right? So
Right.
it's hard to stop. It takes a lot more prep. And maybe that's playing, the Bills are using that to their strength in, saying, listen, we don't know if he's going to play, so you still got to prepare for him, and then we know we pull him out at the last second, so you kind of wasted your time and didn't spend as much time on, Case Keenum or the offense or whatever it is. But
Right.
That's an advantage. As good as 17 is on the field is an advantage. It's also an advantage to use him, as a pawn like that as well. So I hope that's not the case. I don't think that's what they're doing, but it's definitely plausible.
All right. Well, listen, we have to talk about then the other side of the coin. I understand that you're optimistic about it again. So we finally disagree for, to be one of the first times. And I love that, because we need to disagree every now and then. And so you're leaning towards them playing. I'm definitely leaning towards them just kind of holding him out. Now, I'm leaning on the fact of that again, because it's an NFC opponent. We've got back-to-back home games. Again, we play the Cleveland Browns next week after this game coming up against Minnesota. So maybe there's a situation where they'll save him for the AFC game. On the other side of the coin, if he doesn't play DT, Case Keenum, widely regarded as one of the better backup quarterbacks in the league. Now, I don't know how much that's saying. There's 32 starting quarterbacks, and then there's another 32 that are backing up. He's got to be near the top of the league when it comes to that second tier for the second string. If he starts the game, what's your confidence level on the Bills, how they can, conduct their business? I don't know if the offense changes dramatically, but I would assume that it's going to change some.
100%. I mean, you got to also take it with a grain of salt of, how into Josh Allen we are, how obsessed with Josh Allen we are. Anybody else comes in, our immediate reaction is going to be, he sucks. He's going to stink,
Yes.
But on the other side, like you said, on the other side of that coin, he's an NFL quarterback has been starter for multiple teams in this league and had success with multiple teams, including the team they're going to be playing this week, in the Minnesota Vikings. So it's coming full circle in that regard. But a huge difference in the fact of, you can't just change the playbook in 1 week because your starting quarterback isn't playing. The second string prepares just like the first string would, for this specific situation. So, but they're going to have to change some things around for sure, because a lot of things Josh Allen does, hides probably some flaws in this offense that we haven't seen yet this year, where somebody that isn't coming in with as many weapons and his talent as Josh Allen in Case Keenum, they might have to, there might be some holes that come up that we haven't seen, which might, wrongfully, go at Case Keenum about like, man, he sucks. He wasn't able to do this, when it might have been a problem we just haven't seen this year because 17 covers it up so much. So there's that factor as well. So I think we originally, if Case Keenum goes in, you already see the gambling line going down. It's going to be nuts, right? It's everyone's going to say he sucks. Bills are going to lose. It's over. But I think we got to give him back a little more credit. He's been in the league a long time. The Bills aren't messing around with their backup. Mitch Trubisky last year, they're going to put somebody in there who can win them games. And the goal is the Super Bowl. You said it earlier, Rob. So that's still the goal, no matter who plays quarterback for this team. And so I think we got to bring it back a little. His first reaction says we're screwed. He sucks. But in reality, he might be closer to mediocre.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting, because I do expect the game plan to change a little bit. But like you said, the playbook will not. So he's going to have to go out there and execute. Now, he has had success in this league. He's a journeyman. He's been around. He's been to a bunch of teams, including, like you said, the Vikings. And it's funny because of the fact that, listen, if he's got to get out there, I know for a fact that the run game people are going to get a chance to stand on their soapbox and say, listen, this is a chance for us to run the ball and pound the ball and pound the ball. I don't think that that's the best way to do it. You know what I mean? And I just don't want to take steps back, regardless if it's Case Keenum or not. I don't want to take steps back to the point where we literally look like a different offense out there. And Dorsey is calling a bunch of run plays, a bunch of wasted plays that we used to complain about last year with Brian Dable. I don't want to see that from this offense this week. I want to see them go out and execute it. Let's see if maybe it's more quick game. Maybe you're doing some of the things that you were doing earlier in the year where you're just kind of getting the ball out, letting Case, not have to face too much pressure. But I still want to see them sling it. Maybe not 40 times or 47 times or something like that, but I want to see them, pass the football, because I think that that's the best offense that they have is by throwing the football. I'm not interested in seeing a run heavy offense on Sunday. And I think that the Bills would be kind of playing into the hands of the Vikings if they did something like that.
Well, Rob, it didn't take long. We disagreed on if Allen's playing, and now we're back agreeing again in that regard. I'd rather have Case Keenum go down, it be a disaster, him throw 5 picks trying to maintain our main offense, then, like you said, regress and to do something that we aren't meant to do just because we got the backup quarterback in. We still got to play our game. We still got a game plan. This 52 other guys on this roster are the Super Bowl roster we've been bragging about the last 6 months. Obviously 17 is the biggest part of that. It's the biggest chunk if he's out. But, you got to rely on your backup to go in and the rest of the guys on this team to play at a Super Bowl caliber. So I'd rather him, go normal, keep a normal game plan and get destructed and throw 5 picks than, play a BS run game, and still lose the game and not do what we're meant to do.
Yeah, I agree, wholeheartedly, obviously. And one of the things that's been interesting is that, Ken Dorsey has been taking his first slings of arrows this past week. And it's been interesting to listen to some of the, the commentary on it. And one of the things that I'm hearing a lot about it was that, it doesn't seem like he's making adjustments. And it seems like, the offense is not, it doesn't look the same as last year. One thing I will say to that is that I don't think that Dorsey is doing anything wrong by leaning on Josh and the passing game. He knows the strengths of this team. We don't block well for running the football. You know what I mean? We're sometimes, struggling with, our pass protection. So I think that he understands the strengths of his offense. He's the offensive coordinator. He's the boss of the offense. And I think that he understands his personnel. So I know that he's been catching some shit this week. I know that everybody's a little bit upset with Gabe Davis and some of the shortcomings of the offense, and everybody's calling for OBJ. Now, we were already in that corner already. We do need another weapon. So I've always said, bring him in, let him come on in. But I'm not ready to throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. I'm not ready to abandon, Ken Dorsey. I think that he's done a good job. That was my number one focus off the season, outside of the, injuries or anything like that happening, was what was Ken Dorsey going to do with this job? I think he's done a decent to good job this year. It just seems like these last couple games, the offense has just had a tough time finding the rhythm. You want to blame that all on the play calling? That's fine. That's easy to do. I want to say that it's more about execution. You call up the plays and the play will work, but you're not blocking or you're not executing the right way. Doesn't matter if it was a perfect, pretty play. If it's not executed properly, it's going to look like shit and the results will not be there. So in my opinion, I think that we should kind of just pump the brakes a little bit. It has been, last couple of weeks, the offense has not looked the best. It did not look like it did against the Rams and the Titans and things like that. But you're not going to blow every team out by 40. You're not going to, run up the score on everybody. And I think that we're kind of, it's a little bit of it's a little spoiled. Like Bills Mafia, Nickel City crew, we've kind of been a little bit spoiled by Josh. And you were absolutely right how he covers up so many mistakes.
And big time in the regards to this offense kind of looking bad, spoiled and overreacting to, we're not even talking full game, Rob. We're talking a couple quarters. The beginning of that Packers game, it was one of those where I'm turning around in my seasons to the guys behind me it's easy, too easy, easy money, easy money.
This is stat
night. Scoring every drive. It's going to be one of those games where everybody on the offense gets a touchdown. It's stat night, and that's how the Packers game started. Easy down the field, easy. Obviously, took the foot off the gas in the second half, and that wasn't even necessarily bad offense. Just some bad execution, I think, overall. And then Jets game starts out right down the field. The turnovers by Josh obviously were crucial and kept the game, but it's not like they were going 3 and out all game. It's not like they were going 3 and out at their own 20 and punting all game. They were moving the ball. They just weren't executing and getting points in. So I don't think offensively the scheme or anything like that. It's just the matter of executing, and the NFL's tough. They're on, they've been studying Josh. And like I said, they're studying Josh Allen more than anybody, every week they play. So it's one of those things where I'm not on Dorsey yet. They definitely got to get the kinks out a little, but this offense is right where it needs to be. As long as it executes, they're playing perfect games and scoring every drive. And they had kind of flashes of that the past 2 games. They just weren't full games of that. And
Right.
people are like, "Oh, Dorsey stinks. We got to do this. We got to run more. We got all this BS." Like, we're
Yeah.
fine, dude. We're fine in that regard. Like, we can score when we want. We just have to execute and know that the NFL is coming back for us, and they're going to make you pay. And, credit to the Jets last week in doing that in regard, and taking advantage of not executing. But the Bills execute there. They go down on the first drive, and Josh doesn't throw that pick, and they score a touchdown. He scores 2 rushes. He doesn't throw that pick again. It's 32-3 here, 33-3 before
Right.
we're even thinking, about the fourth quarter and letting gas off and not executing. So I'm not worried about that in any regards. And Dorsey coming in, and with Case Keenum, if he does have to play this week, I don't think it's going to be a crazy, like, we can't move the ball. We're going 3 and out all game long. It's just not in the DNA, and not in Dorsey's mindset to kind of move like that.
Yeah, and then and I mean, listen, I think that. Listen, Gabe Davis, his job is to catch the football. We all expected a break, not everybody, but some people expected a breakout year, and he was a fantasy darling and stuff like that. Preseason, he's got to catch the ball. That's his job. I know that some of the passes have not been the easiest, but I've seen some drops, the last couple of weeks that even that last play is crazy, ridiculous as it was that he Josh threw it and launches it 69, 70 yards, whatever it was. He literally dropped a dime. It was right, Sauce Gardner's on him, and they're kind of doing the little hand fighting, but it literally hits him in the chest. So I kind of need him to kind of step up. Not kind of. I need him to step up. He's wide receiver 2. This is the job that he wanted. He wanted this opportunity. He's gotten it. And I kind of need him to step into that role and catch the football in key situations. We haven't seen shit from Dawson Knox. He got his contract. The Bills never really featured a tight end, but I mean, he got paid. He had a whole bunch of touchdowns last year. I don't see him on I don't see him much. I know everybody's biggest punching bag, and they love to punch up on Zeke. Isaiah McKenzie, that's my guy. I love him. I love his personality, what he brings to the team. But it's been tough sledding. Where's Shakir been? I haven't seen Shakir pretty much all season. I haven't really seen. He had made a couple flashes, but I saw him on the field, but I haven't seen him making any catches. So I think it's incumbent on everybody to really rally around this injury. And regardless if Josh is out there or not, if he is not, I would like to believe that the offense, those guys kind of step up and kind of say, okay, we got to take this shit up on our shoulders. We got to, step up and make something happen. Like we got to do this tonight because of the fact that we don't have Josh to come save us.
100%. And with that also, though, we might see some things we aren't used to seeing with, with Ken Dorsey and McDermott might not be telling Josh something, right? Like if he makes a bad throw down the field and there was 3 guys open underneath, maybe nobody even says anything to Josh on that, right? Oh, he's trying to make a play downfield. He knew they were there. It is what it is. Case Keenum's going to be a safe guy. He's not going to be, he's going to try to make plays, but if Dawson Knox is open, for an 8-yard gain in the middle, he's getting it to him as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's also as Josh grows and becomes more confident and more unstoppable, if you will, he's also, maybe overlooking some things where his confidence is like, I know I can get it in this window 20 yards down the field. I don't need to check it down, as opposed to in his younger part of his career, it was like, you got to do some check downs. You got to get a rhythm. You got to kind of lull him to sleep and then go over the top or whatever. And he's gotten a lot better at doing that. But
Even
Sunday,
it
was, yeah, definitely. And Sunday was a lot of, I feel like he could have hit the underneath route a lot more. As now you go in, Case Keenum might be hitting that underneath route a lot more than Josh Allen would ever think of. And that might be something that keeps you in the game and the difference of a win or loss, on Sunday as well. So that's another aspect of, rallying around and seeing a little difference and stuff. And maybe McDermott and Dorsey aren't even mentioning that shit to Josh anymore because they know he's got it. And comes to 18 now, in Case Keenum, it's like, all right, I'm going to hit Dawson Knox in the middle. I'm going to hit Khalil Shakir on this, Isaiah McKenzie on the slant. So we might see a little more of that. And maybe these guys who we say may not be stepping up, maybe Josh isn't throwing to them. I'm not saying that's the case,
right?
But, maybe that has something to do with it of like eyes are elsewhere and, and they still can get open. So that's what I'm hoping, at least, not that these dudes just disappeared and, aren't going to be as good as we thought they were. But yeah, they all need to step up. They all need to be, stronger, and defense, I think, has something to prove. Not that we put the, blame on them or anything from last week, but they got something to prove, and they got to stop Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson and the 7-1 team too. So agree. You got to rally around, and that's the obvious cliche mindset of, your stars out. So as a team, we got to come together. But So it'll be interesting to see maybe if some of those things happen Sunday that we're like, oh, I totally forgot about that guy. Oh, Khalil Shakir, yeah, nice, and Case Keenum's hitting him for 5-yard out routes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that it's really important for the defense this week as we look to the other side of the ball to kind of pull their weight as well. Now, they've been excellent. I mean, in my opinion, they've been excellent this entire season. I don't blame last week's loss on them, like we already touched on in the post game show. I'm looking for a dominant defensive performance just for some of the things that you had talked about. I mean, Dalvin Cook is explosive. We all know that Justin Jefferson is an amazing pass catcher. And, I'm looking for them to kind of carry the water for Sunday's game. And I really do think that it'll have to be a defensive-led game where they're running the show. They're kind of creating pressure, putting Kirk Cousins in bad situations, trying to force some turnovers and kind of making him feel uncomfortable and shutting down this whole run game talk. Like I don't think the Buffalo Bills are bad at run defense. I think that they have been in situations where teams have ran the ball against them and they have decided not to bring extra help into the box because they are refusing to give up the big play. They are refusing to get beat over the top. Now, if you think that that's a great strategy, then fine. If you don't think it's a good strategy and you want to say that they're getting the ball shoved down their throat by the Jets and they're getting the ball shoved down their throat by the Packers, again, I will humbly say that you're just not paying attention because of the fact that last week the Jets were efficient because of the fact that they kept drives alive. They were able to keep drives alive with Garrett Wilson and you know what I mean? And they moved the ball. Now, Zach Wilson wasn't a world beater. We did not get the ball shoved down our throat. It was not some crazy 200-yard rushing game for them. They just were efficient. They kept drives alive. They stayed on the field when they needed to stay on the field. The Bills did not, and didn't execute into points. And I think that's the difference. I don't think that this run defense is soundly alarm. I hear it almost every day on GR, somebody calling up about the run defense being horrible. And I'm just like, I can't get with that theory. Like I don't, and I heard Von Miller, we're going to be better next week. I'm going to be better next week. And like, so they hear that little chirping and stuff like that. I don't know, man. Set me straight if you see something I'm not seeing, but I really, the Packer game for sure, they refused to bring 7-man, 8-man boxes. And last week, it just was the Jets stayed on the field, period. Like it wasn't because
23 points. 23 points is the most they've let up, Rob, in the season. And that was a game they lost, at the 23 points, and then obviously lost with 20, against the Jets. So they're not letting up points. This defense is stout. They got all pros everywhere. The only time we were concerned about this run defense was the Packers when they ran it up. And like you said, they weren't planning for the run. They didn't have anybody in the box. Like
they were letting them run.
Of course they're going to run it. And then last week they had some success running with it without 58, who's been, I think, the best defensive player on our team this year, in Matt Milano. And without him in there, he literally is on every play. Every tackle, Rob, you see it, I see it. He's an animal. He's a beast. And without him in last week, that had something to do with it as well. So Poyer out too. So being some big guys out had a lot to do with this defense not kind of looking characteristic, but they still let up 20 points. That's it. So I like our chances any day when we're letting 20, 23, whatever, because you expect this offense to hit 30, which they haven't been doing, but I think they'll get back into it and hit that point. No concern for the defense. No concern for the running game. I think I spouted off earlier in the year on Nickel City Crew about people bitching about the run and we got to get better offensively on the run. But I stand even firmer in the fact that this defense does not have a run stopping problem. And, it's not. Derrick Henry ran for 30 yards against us, Rob. Derrick Henry's the best back in the league for 30 yards against us. So it's not, I don't think it's a situation where they're like, we can't stop it. We can't stop it. It's a situation where, the scheme, they let it up once and then without their best tackler in the next
score effects, like score effect, game flow, there's different situations. We were letting the Packers run out the clock because they're literally killing their own chances of coming back to win the game. So listen, I'm very interested to see this game. I will be headed up to it. I can't wait to see you at the tailgate.
Oh, you're coming.
Oh yeah, nice. I'm coming. Yeah, no Africa right now. So it'll be after Thanksgiving, before Christmas is when I'll be heading out there. So absolutely, I can't wait to get up there. And I think we've got a surprise coming because there's a chance that I'll be taking Nate up to his first game, my middle son, and he will go crazy. So I'm thinking about doing just a double dip, and we'll go to the Sabres game, take him to his first Sabres game on Saturday, and then let him come and see the team for the first time. He's old enough, and he's a fanatic, just like his dad. So I mean, I think that this would be a good timing. It's not too cold yet in the season, so I can't wait to see you Sunday for sure. And I will be really interested. Some of these storylines for Sunday, we were talking about a pre-show, DT, and I didn't even realize like some of these storylines touch on it, man, because it's kind of there's
Yeah.
some connections Sunday as you look across those sidelines.
Big game. And I mean, as I was kind of speaking on it, in the NFL nowadays, there's a lot of guys that go all over the place and here and there and are traded and whatever, coaches everywhere. So I'm sure there's storylines for a lot of games, right? But in this one in particular, find a way to get up, find a way to get rolling. And yeah, there's a ton here, Rob. I mean, you look at some obvious ones, is Stephon Diggs, coming
Yeah.
in and coming from his team. And, he plays, I don't think it was hostile by any means when he left, but he plays with that chip on his shoulder. Like, all right, they didn't want me, and I came over here, and I'm the best player. I'm the best receiver in the league.
Kirk Cousins was garbage. They want him to throw the ball more.
Yeah, and Diggs is a guy where it's he'll just make something up to get pissed off and ready to go for a game. So on top of something that might be there, and on top of him getting pissed off normally, that's going to be a nice storyline. If Case Keenum plays, the Minneapolis Miracle was that, him and Diggs for that.
Diggs,
that's an iconic. That'll go down in the NFL history book. So
never forget
that's
that play.
huge. On the Bills side, you got Harrison Phillips coming back. Bill's let him walk after his rookie contract. A lot of promise from him in his first couple of years, and he's having a pretty good year, with the Vikings. So that's a big one coach wise. Leslie Frazier was the coach of the Vikings, and
yes,
there's a lot of
and
nice
the Cook brothers, going at it. Some Georgia boys,
the Cook brotherhood, the brotherhood coming together. Their first game, I don't think they would have ever played against each other in college, right?
No.
So
then Dalvin went to Florida State, right? Dalvin went to FSU.
Yeah, and was way older, so
way older.
So this is the first game these two have probably ever played against each other, so that's a big one, for the family and them. And
right.
I like that, I like that for the Bills side of things, like, because James isn't going to want his big brother to get one over on him, so he's going to give it that extra pump. And that, maybe we see a little breakout from James Cook, and he doesn't
trying
look
to
back.
show out,
That'd be a nice little treat, for the Mafia and the Nickel City crew this week. So a lot of things going on, a lot of intertwined deals. And Wade Phillips' son is the OC. As when I went to Minnesota earlier in the year, when I saw Wade Phillips in the bathroom and the whole nine there. So it's I went to Minnesota. I had a great time. I enjoyed their stadium, enjoyed their city. I got a ton of people I met out there that are coming up for the Bills game, because this is the one away game they want to go to, right? See the Mafia, see the tailgate, see the stadium, and so I got a lot of people coming up from Minnesota that are hitting me up this week. Where should we stay? Where should we get wings? Everything like that.
There you go. Yeah,
it's
tour guide.
Find a way to get up. But there's some decent storylines in this one, Rob.
Yeah, it was interesting because I didn't know about Wade Phillips' son, and I loved Wade, and I felt so bad back in 1999 when the owner made him play Rob Johnson over Doug Flutie, and that's one of my memories of Wade Phillips back then when he was our coach. So yeah, it's really cool to see kind of some of these storylines. I'm definitely intrigued by the Cook brothers, because anytime that you get that sibling rivalry, you are going to get a little bit of extra juice because of that. Especially when it's little brother, big brother. Like it's definitely like, okay, I got to get him. Yep, and the big brother, like, I got to show him that I'm still the man. That type of thing. And Stephon, I'll be honest, you are being modest with Stephon. He is a dog. He's an animal, and he's definitely going to get up for this game. He's definitely going to be way hyped for this game because of the fact it wasn't any animosity. He wanted the ball. All receivers do. He's extremely talented, so he wouldn't be full of shit for wanting the ball. He wouldn't be out of line for saying that he wanted the ball, and he thought that they ran it too much and they didn't pass to him enough. He didn't get a lot of targets in Minnesota. Everything was going to Thielen, and he didn't really, care for Kirk Cousins too much, it seemed like. So coming to Buffalo was a blessing for him. He embraced it. He's now a leader on this team, a captain on this team. Salute your captain. And I promise you, he doesn't have to manufacture anything for this game. He is going to be all the way, literally all the way up Fat Joe. So I can't wait to see it because I do know what he brings on the field. I know that he wants to, to kind of set the tone for the team. And he always seems to do it. It's always early in the game. Again, as we spoke about earlier, I need some of those other receivers to kind of, step up as well, because the theme this week was that if Steph's not going to do it on offense from the receiving core, shit ain't getting done. And that's not, that's not what we thought we were getting. So like, I need everybody to kind of roll, come on now, everybody step on up,
And
because we got big goals.
14's also getting on the defense's ass this week too. You better not let Justin Jefferson have a career day out here and show the Vikings fans why they got rid of me and got
And
the
traded
new age Justin Jefferson. So he's on the defensive ass, I'm sure, this week too. Like, yo, you better lock him down, and I'm gonna have a day, but you lock him down and make me look even better. So that's a fun thing. I think that's obviously the biggest one out of all the storylines we touched on is 1-4 playing his old team. This is the first time. Yeah, this is the first time he's played since the trade.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. So, first time they've gone up.
He's going to be hype, man. He's going to be hype. And obviously you want 17 to be thrown to him and make that kind of storybook of this storybook season, have 17 go in there and have a career day with Diggs together. But
I expect whoever, if it's Keenum or if it's 17, if it's Keenum or Allen, they are going to be force feeding him the ball early. Bills Mafia, Nickel City Crew, expect to see 14 in action early in the first quarter there at the Ralph, because I think that they would be foolish not to. He'll be almost like a caged animal going against his old team. So I know he's going to bring it. Well, listen, as we wrap up,
that's when he plays his best. That's when he plays his best. When he's nuts.
Yes. Against Green Bay,
it's not like some players they get too in their head, right? And it's like, oh, you're getting too pumped up. You're not focused on what you're doing.
Breaks them out of their game.
That's when 1-4 is his best, when he is a maniac, so
I love him so much. I really do. I love him so much. His tenacity, what he brings to the energy he brings to the team. Again, it is palpable from offense to defensive side of the ball, and that's a true sign of a leader, to be honest with you. When you talk about leading and you talk about leading by example, all those different cliches, they were trying to say he was a malcontent, and all these different horrible narratives coming out of Minnesota. He's been none of those things. It's been spotless here. Everybody loves Stephon Diggs, and you got to love the effort. You got to love that he brings it. He's always going to leave it out there on the field. Man, DT, this is going to be interesting, man. This is everybody wants Josh. I was like, sending out text messages to the world. I'm like, did you pray for Josh? Did you pray for 17? Did you pray for 17? I'm like, everybody, did you say your prayer for 17? They're like, what are you doing? Like, oh, I'm at work, man. Like, okay, say your prayer real quick for 17. Like, everything. I mean, it's not hyperbole, man. Everything rides on his right arm. This season rides on his right arm. It really does.
A guy at work today was telling me his wife went to a women's meeting at a church. Like, it's all the women in the neighborhood. They go and they had like a women's giving, and and the pastor goes and he sits down, and the pastor is saying the grace at the church is like, can we pray for Josh Allen's right arm? I mean, this is everybody talking, literally pastors and priests are praying for Josh Allen now. So,
oh my goodness. It's crazy because, it does. I think that the reason why, and I know why, is because of the fact that everybody realizes what he means to this team. We have never enjoyed this kind of success, since the 90s until he got here. And we all know the quarterback purgatory we went through during the drought, trying to find the next Jim Kelly and yada, yada, yada. He's here. He really seems like the real deal, like he's right in front of our face. And boy, every single hope and dream that we have relies on that right arm and him taking us to Super Bowl 57, because without him, I'm no disrespect to Case Keenum, I don't know how many really starting quarterbacks can go out and you can expect to go to the Super Bowl. It ain't happening here in Buffalo if he's not healthy. It's just, I mean, that's just the cold hard truth. It's not happening without him.
Nick Foles was probably the one we'll only see
that
in
is
our
the
lives.
exception
and
to the rule.
Pretty damn good, So and he was probably
and he didn't play the whole season either. He didn't play half a season either.
Case Keenum is a clear backup. Case Keenum is a clear backup. So man, we don't have to get into all that this week.
You're not even getting all that energy.
But yeah.
You don't want to give that energy, man. But I just know that's why everybody is. That's why we got the pastors praying. That's why we've got the old ladies at the church praying. Everybody is wringing their hands right now, hoping that he's okay, because everything really does ride on his right arm. Him being healthy. Again, I'm going to do my research tonight, so that way I know a little bit more about UCL, and I'm just trying to figure out the difference between the tear and the sprain. If they're the same thing, how much time does it need to heal? I'll swallow. I'll ask you what you think, DT. I'll swallow 3-4 games if I have to. If it means that he's 100% healthy, ready for the stretch run, I'll swallow. Maybe not like 4. It's like, damn, man, like a whole month. I'll swallow 3. Like, I'll swallow 2 or 3 if I have to, for sure. I would. I would if I don't see Josh again until Thanksgiving, right? I'd be okay with that. I really would.
You have to. But you look at they say he had a similar injury right in his rookie year.
Yes, he
with
did.
The
he missed 4
UCL,
games.
and he missed 4 games, right?
But they said it was worse though.
Yeah, exactly. And he, I don't know, how much into this, but they were playing clips of Josh in his rookie year of saying like, yeah, we're keeping me out. It's precautionary, but I'm ready. Like he's saying he's ready to go. He's
back then.
Go.
Oh, back then.
Yeah.
When
they were keeping him out. So I think obviously the same mentality this week. He's saying he's ready to go. He's ready to go. Who knows? But I'm going to do the opposite. I'm not going to research. I'm not going to research it because I don't want to know. I think it's the most minor injury there could be. That's what I'm going with. This all and
I like it.
Because he wore a brace too. He had a brace after he got back. I'm pretty sure on his right arm. In his first
in his rookie year
when he got hurt in his rookie year. I think he did have that brace. So is that something? Is that affecting it? But I'm going to do the opposite and not think about it.
Type stuff.
Yeah,
Okay, the athlete tape. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to do the opposite and not think about it and think it's minor. You could do the research, and it's like going on WebMD when you have a headache, right? You come out of there, you're dying, right? So the internet's a dark place, especially when it comes to medical. And I'm going to stay off that. I'm going to be positive, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Oh, that is so funny, WebMD. You're absolutely right, because definitely you can get down that rabbit hole, and all of a sudden, like, maybe I do have shortness of breath. And like, wait, man, you went on here for a headache, man. You straight, man. That is so funny, and it is so true. So I'll do a little bit of research for the both of us for the due diligence of Nickel City Crew.
Tell me Monday.
Yeah, I'll tell you Monday what they're thinking about and what the prognosis says. So we'll see. As you heard, as we started the show, Sean McDermott says he's day to day. We'll see. So, I mean, we'll just kind of go with it from there and kind of follow along. Regardless, big game Sunday, DT. Not a must win in my mind because it's an NFC opponent, but it's damn important. It is damn important to not fall in. I looked at these standings pre-show with you. There's 9 teams with 4 losses or less. A bunch of them have 3 losses. Like you dropped to 6-3, and now you really are in like a schmozzle of teams. You really are.
NFL, baby, it's a winners league, and these guys are. I didn't expect the division to be up. I knew these teams would be better in our division, but they're right there at our heels, and 0-2 in the division with some left, and that's where you got to start looking, right, and then you kind of look out in the rest of the AFC. But teams that we were thinking we were getting lucky with in the early part of the year are getting back on stride. The Bengals look like they stunk, and now they're putting up 50 a game. The
Ravens,
the Titans, we blow out. The Titans are finally done. They're back in track. Ravens look just, Lamar's right up there in the MVP talk, and they're good kind of all the way around. Just added a great defensive player in Roquan Smith. So, and the Chiefs are the Chiefs, and so we're right back where we kind of thought we'd be at the beginning of the year. I know. Where we had a chance to kind of separate ourselves a little bit and didn't. But so this is our second run to separate ourselves because we haven't lost anything yet. We're still in that first seed, still rolling, still control our destiny when it comes to that. But they're kind of are who we thought they were, and these teams are starting to kind of come through, and our division's a little better than we thought it was going to be. So it's going to be a tall task.
You better stack them.
And that's when you say it's this. That's why I say you're saying not a must win because NFC. I'd say it's a must win just for a lot of other factors, not so much for the standings, but just like, damn, we can get this win after a tough loss. And, that's like, if they went back to back Miami and then lost again to the Ravens, it would have been panic mode, right?
It would have felt different.
People would have been freaking out.
It would have felt a lot
different. In this case, if we lose to the Vikings and Josh isn't playing, people can say a little more, oh, well, Josh didn't play. But if he's out a couple weeks and we lose every game he's not in, it's going to be tough to come back from that to get the 1 seed at least, So I say it's a must win in the regards of like for the swagger and the streamline of this first seed. It's a must win in that regard. To keep it rolling, get it going. Because if it is a couple weeks and you get this win and you might drop a few others, like you got to get this one. I think you got to get this.
You pay your backup. I mean, they pay your backup to go 500. That's like the NFL rule. Like, just don't lose every game. Go, 4 games you're playing, win 2 of them. 6 play, win 3 games. Somehow go 3-3. Obviously, everybody can't be Cooper Rush and whatever he did, 5-1 or whatever it was to start for Dallas. But that's kind of what you're looking for from your backup is to go, 500 and play 500 football if you can. So we'll see. Again, as we'll see. I mean, that's McDermott. We'll see. We're day to day. So I don't think that we're really going to find out anything more, DT, before we see each other on Sunday. I
Yep.
think that they are going to play this damn thing all the way up. I think that's exactly why he used that phrasing of day to day. They might ride this thing all the way up to Sunday morning, where Schefter's
Yeah,
trying to
game
get a
time
report,
decision.
Rappaport trying to get a report. You're looking at your phone that morning, like, what is Jack going to do? Like, what is happening? Like, and
And
who's going to break the
teams do
story?
this every week. Yeah,
Yeah.
teams do this every week, Rob. I mean, you play fantasy football, you're checking your guys all week, and it's like didn't practice, questionable, day to day, didn't practice, questionable, day to day, and you're like, all right, what's good, what's good, what's good, what's good, and then Sunday comes along and they'll just say he's active or he's not active, you know. So
Right.
it's like teams do this all the time. It's just obviously a little more magnified, being one of the best players in the league, and a lot more magnified for us being literally our savior. You know, he's been questionable, so it's nuts, man. But I agree. I don't think we're going to see anything till Sunday morning. It's going to be day to day. I don't think he's going to practice. I think if he throws, nobody's going to see him throw.
Right.
It's going to be real closed door, real hush hush, and we'll see on Sunday morning when we're at the tailgate what's going on.
Yeah, man, it's like the Bills are at DEFCON 17 now, so everything is just shut down there at One Bills Drive. Nobody say shit. Nobody talk to anybody.
He didn't do the Kyle Brandt show this week. It was
no. Everything is shut down.
Nobody knows anything. We're being quiet.
Bolt the doors. Everybody's got the hatchets closed, so it'll be interesting to see, and I cannot wait for this matchup. So, as always, spread love, not hate. These were my Bills thoughts said out loud. DT, I'll see you Sunday, man. Go Bills. Hit them with the Go Bills, man.
See you Sunday. Go Bills. Go Bills. 7-2.